Hello, my name is Sean Stennett. I've lived in Colorado Springs all of my life and watched it grow. I've worked in marketing for much of that time. Let's cultivate a marketing community and tell their stories. This is Marketing Colorado Springs podcast. Introducing Trevor Kinkade of Trevor Kinkade Design. All right, everyone, welcome back to Marketing Colorado Springs podcast. We got Mr. Trevor Kinkade hanging out with us today. How are you, Trevor?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. I gotta ask you, where in the world are you?
Yeah, I'm in Tokyo.
Tokyo. Wow. I
Yep.
can't. It's so awesome that you took the time out of your day. I appreciate you just jumping on this call with us and hanging out. So very cool,
No.
man. What are you doing? You're just traveling abroad. I feel like you're always just kind of going places.
Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah, I ask myself that sometimes too, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying the fruits of freelance work. So
Dude.
if it's working, I'm like, yeah, let
Yeah.
me use it. So
Cool. So you're not like on business or anything like that. You're just working and
yeah,
traveling.
not on official business at all. I just yeah, everyone's online, and one of the cool things too is there's so much flexibility in meeting times that I could go to a time zone like this and still do okay. So
Right. Well, that's freaking awesome. I love it. Well, I'd love to go back in time. And before we dive into your business success, I'd love to rewind a little bit. What kind of kid were you growing up? Were there any early signs that you get in the wide world of logo design, graphic to design, and all that kind of stuff?
yeah, looking back now, there's so many signs, you can
Nice.
probably relate and drawing
Yeah.
the notebooks,
Yeah, yeah.
super early. I remember this one math class I was in sixth grade. It was super boring, right? And
Uh,
draw these, like video game scroll logos, and the notebook and all that stuff. And yeah, even then, we're talking about freelance.
yeah.
I was an only child up until like 10. I have a bunch of
Oh,
brothers and
okay.
sisters now, but
Uh,
like I was always doing my own thing. And so the artwork and doing my own thing is something that still kind of defines me today. And
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how early things like that, yeah, pop up.
Yeah, I even remember being like a young child and I was just real I loved type. And so I took a piece of paper and started tracing some type and I was like, "Oh man, that looks exactly like that font." And then I'd trace another font and like maybe wrote out my name and like was messing with the kerning and like the trackings.
That's cool.
It was like it was a very early fascination. I was like fascinated with like serifs and oh, why does this A have an upper stemmy thing and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff? And like, ooh, why does this lowercase g kind of look like a monster?
Did
So
you did you organically like figure out some of those type things like the O, and the A extending above the X line? Is that something you like found out by yourself?
yeah, kind of just like just through trivial fascination of the advent of the word processor. I'm like I'm like
The
that old
word.
as to where we used to have that green screen MS-DOS like
Yeah,
type in prompts and Windows was like a thing. And so when Windows came out shortly after the word processor came out and then Paintbrush soon after that. And so I just started playing with the typography that was available, of course, like Times New Roman and
sure.
Helvetica and all those things. Like it was exciting, right? Like it was cool. So I'm still into it.
Yeah,
So I want to launch forward a little bit and yeah, tell us about the early days of Trevor Kincaid Design. What were some of the first wins, early growing pains that helped you sh that helped shape you as an
uh-huh.
agency?
I got out of the army in 2018. I went to go see you that year. We'll talk
Yeah,
more
I
about that
remember
at the end,
that.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So to give a little backstory of how Trevor and I met, he got out of the army, was interested in getting into college, and he's like, "Hey, can I pick your brain a little bit about design?" So we had a cup of coffee and met, which was really cool and a high honor for me. And I could just tell right away that you were a go-getter and that you were gonna smash it. So
Appreciate that. No, it was I mean you're literally the very first person I talked to
that's
like
so cool. That's so cool.
yeah in the area. So like yeah, I came across a notebook the other day and was looking at the notes from that time I met you and I was like, "Oh yeah, that stuff rings more true today."
That's so
Uh
cool. That's great. I hope I didn't steer you wrong.
no, no. It was perfect. I mean, yeah, that was the
That's great.
perfect push. So but yeah, so that was 2018. I went to Pikes Peak for a year and
Mhm. Mhm.
then got out. I was sort of looking for like a job. Like I had this idea I wanted to work at an agency.
Yep.
And it just didn't happen right away. And so I kind of started doing my own thing. I had some clients and I was sort of focused on, okay, maybe I can travel if I get this set up. This
Yeah,
was 2019 and I got just enough to like get it set up. It was like really modest, right?
sure.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to travel Europe for the whole year. This is going to be great. I'm going to do this freelance thing 1 year and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to get a real job. That was February 2020 when I left.
Oh, geez.
And so, yeah, I ended up, like in Spain and they shut down. And
Right, COVID happened and
yeah, yeah,
were
COVID
you
was like,
were you like locked out of the country? Like what happened?
so like I got in Madrid literally the day that they decided to shut down.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was crazy. Like 2 weeks, like I was living in this Orwell state where like literally every time I left the house, the apartment I was staying at, I would get
What?
stopped by the cops. And they weren't in uniform either. They would just be like, "Hey, where are you
Like,
going?" And
what do you
yeah,
think?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm from America. I just thought I'd look at the Capitol building. Like,
Uh-huh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, no, yeah, it was crazy. Super, super strict. Well, they closed down all the Airbnbs. There's no way to get to my next destination in Europe. All of Europe was closing.
oh my
Um,
gosh.
So I had this whole 9 month trip planned, and I ended up just flying back to hang out with my family in Arizona.
Dang, okay.
And right
Okay.
with the pandemic, I was like, oh yeah, like this is over already. Like I have no work. I'm unemployed
Oh
already.
yeah, that was such a rough time. Yeah,
So like,
I started a business in 2009 in a similar recession, so that's
that's
brutal,
right.
dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did
So
that not like completely flatten your tires?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, talking about big wins starting out is just a big loss, but I was just like resignated to the idea that okay, like I'm done. I'm not gonna do this. So I was just with my family trying to help out, do whatever. Yeah, I got a call from someone that does web WordPress stuff, and
Hmm.
he offered to give me some work, and that kind of floated me for 2020, and it was actually ended up being a big year because a lot of people were doing online businesses,
Oh,
you
cool.
know, with COVID, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, I ended up doing a lot of logos, a lot of websites, and it was
Great.
actually at the end of the year, like probably one of my more productive years that I've had. Yeah, that first one. So
Awesome, man. Well, that's great. You know, when life gives you lemons, you make lemon
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sometimes anyway. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you, man. Yeah, I've been following you and just watching you grow as you go, and I've really enjoyed your logo design work, especially. So, you worked with a WordPress guy. Do you do web design or yeah?
yeah, definitely. So definitely a WordPress person. I, went to school the HTML and the CSS thing.
Okay, good.
So I'm good at it. I like it, but it's not what I advertise like up front, right?
Yeah, it seems like your flagship is like brand design, logo design, and man, you're great at it. Like I love your stuff. So along those lines, like I think this is the $1 million question. How do you ensure your logos are timeless and scalable? Like, oof.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you told me this, but you've got to start on paper,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
if you're starting it on paper, then that's kind of the number one thing, right? If you can draw it in that little, like this big, then
yeah.
it's gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that might have been something I said. I call it the letter stamp test. if it works on a postage stamp, it's gonna
Yeah.
work on a billboard, you know? It'll be scalable, huh? And yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so great. So um so what's your process? You talked about starting on paper. Do you like to mock it up on several different things, or how do you go about? You just dive deep in a client brief, or what do you
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, yeah, I guess the first thing is really getting into the head of the client and
Yeah.
doing all those meetings, right?
Yeah.
One thing I figured out maybe 3 years back, I had some projects. You know how logo projects just they go off the rails so easy, right?
Oh
It
man.
can it can be bad, right? Um,
We've been through some whoa. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty intense. So I had one of those projects where I was like, I really thought we should have got this right. The
hmm
logos that I designed are good. It's just I think we designed them in the wrong direction.
Ah, yeah.
So what I did is I do this thing called a taste test now, where you
Nice.
know before the project I'll show the client
Yeah.
logos and I'll have them actually say like, hey, what's actually looking like? Because they
Yeah.
could tell me simple and they actually mean something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good way to do it. It's hard to rein some clients in, and it's a good way to get your feelers out there like, hey, what are you thinking? Or even if you just say, hey, send me some samples of some stuff you like, so that way you can kind of generally get their taste. I think that's great.
appreciate.
Um, so yeah, along those lines, how do you handle the clients that are just off the rails and off the wall? Like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that definitely happens. Or you get the I'll know it when I see it kind of thing, but it's not
Uh,
this.
right.
Um,
Like, give me feedback. Come on. Yeah, what do
yeah,
you do?
once you get to that spot, it's almost too late, right? Because if someone's made up their mind and lost confidence in the project,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to get that back. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can manage the project at the start and kind of like show confidence and instill confidence and do a process that works, by
Yeah.
the time you're actually presenting things, oh, very cool.
I'm sharing some of your stuff here because yeah, Trevor is just I mean, I love your website too. A bunch of logos, and boy, there is a bunch of logos here. Trevor does some rad stuff. He's got such a cool style. Like I love your work with word marks and your iconography work and your containers. Yeah, it's just really fun. So, just looking at these, I'm thinking to myself like. Um, do you build out like do you use a base font when you get close and then kind of deconstruct it or what's some of your like word mark work look like?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think you definitely should probably start with a font first. There's definitely situations where, you know, you could wing it on your own, but usually like the people that created those fonts are just such type experts and a
Right.
lot of the like spacing and
hmm
legibility nuances they've already figured out.
hmm
So if you can start with that and then customize it
Yeah,
as your own thing, I think that's ideal.
that's awesome. That's awesome. You do a great job. Oh, I remember this series. He did like all of the states. Um, yeah. Just very memorable work, sir. I love it. I love it. Well, good
I
deal.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, appreciate you hanging out with me. And it's cool to catch up all these years later. Honestly, we saw each other at another like marketing event, but it's been a while. So, um, all right. Well, so what are the top 10 mistakes business owners make when trying to build efficient, high-performing campaigns or projects? What do you think? Where do people
Yeah.
get too lofty?
But yeah, I don't know if you agree with this, but one thing that I run into
hmm
is that people at the start of their business are maybe trying to achieve too much or
Yeah,
break off more than they can chew.
totally. Yep. Yep. They just get ambitious. They think they're making the next Microsoft or
Yeah.
the next whatever it is. renewal by Anderson, or like
Uh,
they think they're just gonna come out of the gate and own the world. And less is more. And start small. Um, I think that's great advice too. So.
yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so what steps do you take to ensure your agency's culture doesn't erode as you scale? Um,
Yeah, I really like that question because kind of it's funny applied to what I'm doing. So like I'm not really scaling at all. Like I'm
yeah,
just
right.
comfortable with just me, and I guess the culture is between me and me.
Yeah. But
One
even
thing,
still, like, how do you
yeah,
stay true to yourself, you know?
yeah, yeah. One thing that has kind of changed a little bit
Mhm.
is, like when I first started, I had all these trackers and guys tracking the hours and the money, and I still do my accounting well, but I've learned to kind of yeah, give myself a little more leeway and maybe not follow what I'm doing so closely so that I'm not, you know, not being like a terrible boss to myself. Like,
Yeah, right. I feel like that's great advice. It would stifle your creativity if you're too like stuck in the numbers. How many hours did I spend on this? Am I wasting
uh,
time? Am I doing this? Like, yeah, you do that in the early years, but it's like, okay, well, I am getting the hang of this. Like, as long
mhm.
as I'm within the realm of, this parameter of hourly, I should be good to go.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's great. Very cool, very cool. What does your ideal client look like, and how do you go about attracting that type of business? Is there a certain like industry that you float in, or just looking at your body of
Uh,
work, it seems like you can kind of help anyone with most things, which is
yeah, for
pretty
sure.
incredible.
I think probably the most important thing is that someone's passionate about what they're doing.
Mm,
So it almost doesn't even matter what industry they're in, as long as they're invested in it.
yeah,
I think things will work out. You probably get this, when someone's passionate about their thing and you can
right.
bring that go along with them. That's ideal, right?
I totally agree. Like you just become their business cheerleader kind of, and like it's like, okay, you got me excited about your idea. Like let me help you visually communicate that, take it and run with it. That's something that you're so good at. Like I think I even saw this with you on social media. You're like you put out a showcase of logos and you're like, what industry do you think this is for? Like
Mm-hmm.
just seeing the brand name or the word mark or the without any descriptive tagline, and people are like, oh yeah, that's probably like the oil industry or this or that. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
well, if you're doing that, then you're probably doing it right. So that's super cool, man. I love it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So looking back, what early mistakes would you advise other young entrepreneurs? Like if I took on a young Trevor Kinkade.
Mhm.
What if another young Trevor Kinkade your way and said that they were starting a brand design business or a graphic design business?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think one underrated part of starting an agency or being a freelancer is the personal finance part.
Yeah.
Like you have to have your stuff in order and kind of be in line with all that in order to make the projects work. So like, I was lucky coming from the army. I was already a little bit older, had some
Yeah.
savings, and
Right.
that really helped me kind of steer to where I want. But I definitely have seen peers kind of get stuck in these ruts of, hey, I need to make things work for this month. So I'm working with this client who's absolutely terrible, who I'd like to fire, and it's over
Uh,
budget and
yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
How do you deal with things like scope creep, like when people are
yeah, good.
trying to dig in your pockets and keep it
Yeah, for
going
sure.
forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely like the classic designer, like, okay, 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 let's try to make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll yeah, I'll definitely like entertain a little bit of it and then at some point be like, okay, yeah, this isn't matching the contract we worked on.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly.
uh
I think that's a great answer. Like, hey, we have parameters of this contract. This is what we talked about. Like, this is what I've delivered. Like, another question too, like I just, for me, like I build in an infinite amount of revisions, but I know some of my
Yeah.
other cohorts are like, well, I only do three or up to this many hours. Like, what's your process there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one because you don't want to feel like a jerk being like, hey, you've asked one too many things. We're stopping
Right.
here, like in the middle.
Right, like,
Um,
sorry,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
up.
So
Yeah.
I like the infinite revisions too, and it could be abused, but what I find is that there's only so much
Yep.
they could have possibly asked for. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I call it the funnel. It's like we start wide, we have
yep,
a broader spectrum of ideas and possibilities. Maybe we have like three initial concepts that are kind of varying from each other. And then from there we're really dialing it in and getting closer to the end where we come out the end of the funnel and have a nice finished project. And of course, you're happy, the client's happy. We got a shiny piece of work at the end of the day. So,
the
um,
funnel, I like that. That's
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So, do you have any exciting things that are happening in the pipeline with the business? Or other than traveling the world and do you have any cool projects lined up? I mean, you don't have to drop any names or anything like
yeah, yeah.
that.
Name drop.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, definitely some logo stuff going on right now. It's interesting now, getting a little bit deeper into it. I've started to like get paired up with larger organizations,
Oh,
and
cool.
these larger organizations will do logos via a board, right?
Okay.
Um, which
Okay.
which is notoriously difficult, right, for a group to come to any sort of creative decision.
Lots of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, so um, yeah, always learning new things, and the things that I'm learning this past couple of years is like, how do you talk to 12 decision makers at one point?
Right, right.
How do
So
you,
so how do you do it? What's the do you find a good balance there, or it's kind of challenging to have more than like three business partners? So what's
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, One of the things I found works is if you call it out before the project even starts, and you've got them in the first meeting being like, hey, before we start, you
yeah,
guys are in a really precarious situation,
yeah,
and explain this usually doesn't work. Um, and here are the reasons why, because groups are really
right,
difficult. So if you tell the
right.
group that, they will tailor their behavior um, to something that mirrors success a little bit more. So
I like that. I like that. It's kind of like what we were saying with contracts. It's just like, okay, let's set up provisos and expectations. Like, here's the process and here's how this is going to work best. Like, it, Jimmy shouldn't be changing the type when Johnny is changing the color and the theme
yeah.
and going pulling me in two directions. Like, let's stay focused on this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, how many jobs like that have you had? Have you had a lot of work like that?
Yeah. Yeah. This thing will happen. I'll be subcontracted, by
Okay,
another creative agency to do that. So usually those will come that way.
nice, nice. So we're called Colorado Springs Marketing. Do you do you spend much time in Colorado Springs anymore? Mm,
Yeah. Um,
good.
Crazy. I love the Springs. I still have my house there. I rent it
Oh,
out.
you do? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to some tenants. So
Sweet.
my aunt lives there. But yeah, it's this crazy thing where I'm like every year I'm like, I'm gonna come back and spend some time in the Springs and see everyone. And it ends up like in the schedule being like, I'm back for a week. Like
Hey,
trying to do
right.
all the things. Yeah. So
Man, I envy you. The last time I saw you, there's like this Dos Equis ad of this guy, and he's the most interesting man in the world, and he has all these travels and goes all these places and stuff. I kind of think about you as that guy, like, man, where in the world is Trevor today? Like, oh, he's in Japan or Mexico or all the places. Where's the funnest place that you've traveled so far? Is That's probably a tough question.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I definitely love Mexico, right? Because it's
I could tell, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You spent a lot of time there, didn't you?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time. It's a culture that's very much like us. I mean, it's very close too.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Oh my God,
and
my neighbors.
it yeah, yeah, and for sure it's just yeah, great world down there. Everyone's really loving life and
Yeah,
so many great things to see and yeah, it's really good.
that's
Recommend it to
cool.
anyone. Yeah.
Have you seen like the Aztec step pyramids and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
cool,
Yeah,
cool.
they got them like all over the country, these classic ones. There's even like some where they're like, yeah, that hill over there just looks like a big grass hill. They're like, oh, that's actually, a pyramid. So,
That's incredible. Like the earth is just growing over it. That's so cool.
yeah.
I'll bet you've been all over. So the first COVID thing that you said you were gonna end up in Europe, did you get to do that trip again or have you been?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still bitter, so I haven't I haven't gone back to Spain or anything like that. But yeah, a little bit. I plan on it. It's there.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, I live vicariously through you. I'm a family man. Like maybe when the kids move out, me and my girlfriend will go see the world. But
Definitely.
yeah, Trevor, it's super cool to talk to you and to reconnect. Everyone go check out Trevor. Trevor Kinkade Design.com is his website. He does amazing work. Websites, logos. Is that kind of your mainstay graphic design?
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, if it's design, we could probably work on it
Nice. Sweet, sweet. Nice. Yeah, that's kind of I work with a company called Steck Insights. They're actually the ones that power this podcast here. And what we often say is anything that a website touches, we can do for you. So, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, go check out Trevor and all of his marketing collateral. And that is us for now. I'm working on sign off. I'm thinking I'm
Okay.
showcasing this one. We're trending upward, Colorado Springs. So let's keep doing it. And yeah, take care in Japan, Trevor. Get some rest, buddy. And thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. One quick question. What time
Yeah.
is it there?
It is 7:30 a.m.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
Yeah. That's
So
not too bad though.
4:30 p.m. where we are. And
Yeah.
okay, man. Well, get some rest or do whatever you're gonna do. Sushi and sake. Early morning
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I
Okay,
appreciate
yeah.
you having me.
Yeah, yeah. Travel safe and be well, sir.
Okay, you too.
All right.